Really appreciate you guys. This channel is growing because you guys are giving it the attention. So really do love that. Dude, I'm excited to dive in today. This has probably been one of my favorite movies. Not when I first watched it, because it definitely confused the hell out of me when I first watched it. But I was also 9 when I first watched it. I was a young kid. I was in the city at my friend Chris Lemire's house, sitting on his couch, and he was introducing to me to all things Edward Norton. And we were, American History X, Fight Club, and I remember watching that.
History X was such a good movie.
That's another one we can do. That's talk about one that opens people's eyes to the ignorance of racism. That's a freaking awesome movie. But Fight Club.
If you could fight anyone, who would you fight?
Shatner. I'd fight William Shatner.
I just remember sitting there and just being like, obviously, in my opinion, most of the world has different views of this movie, right? Some people look at it as just like this homage to violence, which as a young kid sitting there at 9 years old is definitely where my mind was. I'm like, damn, this is cool. These guys just don't give a fuck and they're beating each other up.
Come on, hit me before I lose my nerve. Ow! You hit me in the ear!
And I thought that was interesting. And then the end was like this crazy twist. And I was like, what just happened? And so I had to rewatch it. But you said, coming back as an adult, watching the movie, very different experience for you. So before I share kind of my more recent uptakes since watching it over and over again, I'd love to hear what was up for you rewatching it for obviously doing this video.
I'm not sure if you realize or not, I don't like rewatching old things.
Really? Even like classics? Like you wouldn't go watch your favorite movie again right now?
So there are some exceptions. Like I can watch Avatar over and over.
But like the original, like James Cameron Avatar. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yes, I can watch that. So it seems to be like a 20-year type thing.
Interesting.
Although it's not the same when it comes to classic Adam Sandler movies.
You can watch those.
I can watch those over and over.
Where's the cutoff point for you with Adam Sandler? Like, where does it stop being as funny and start being like, okay, I'm not in anymore?
Well, I still like Adam Sandler. I don't like when he attempts to be more serious. I'm not a fan of when he goes down that route.
Probably because you just iconically, he's like really...
I'm here for a laugh, dude.
Yeah.
Give me the laugh.
That's what you expect from him because he's a funny dude.
God, you were normal yesterday.
100%.
Yes, but I'm not a big fan of rewatching old things. Even the old Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean...
I struggle to watch old Star Wars anymore. I know.
I have young kids, right? So I'm going through the nostalgia of bringing back the things that I loved as a kid and watching them with them.
Mm-hmm.
An example of that is I started watching Power Rangers about a month ago with Mace, my youngest.
It's morphing time!
Because he was super into, he was like, I want to watch it. I'm like, all right, let's watch it. And so I started watching it. Like, it's super corny as an adult, right? Super corny.
It was super corny back then.
Not when you're 4 or 5 years old. It's like, whoa.
That came out when I was like almost a teenager.
Really?
So even then, that was pretty bad.
I don't know. I was young, so you're not that much older than me.
How old are you now?
I'll be 37 next month.
I'll be 41 this year.
Oh shit, you are a little bit older than me. Not like significantly, but yeah. I always think you're right around my age. Like in my mind, that's where I always put you over the years, I guess. But anyway, we'll go off on tangents. So you're not a big fan of rewatching movies, so you kind of had a little bit of jadedness going into rewatching a movie. So where was it?
I did my best to back burner that. And for me, I still feel like it stands up.
Okay.
It still stands up. However, I do feel like it missed the mark on a few things, the way that my adult mind retook it.
Okay. See, I thought this was interesting because as I was driving over here today, my thought was, I have a feeling that this is going to be a reverse of Civil War, where I was saying they missed the mark, and you were like, no, it was supposed to be that way. It was supposed to be this open message of interpretation, where to me, that's what Fight Club was. Fight Club was an awareness of extremeness and an awareness of like balance being the answer. To me personally, that's what I was thinking it to be. And so, but it's a very open to interpretation, a lot of the messaging inside of it, especially a lot of what Tyler brings to the table with his like anarchist, just pure instinctual kind of like character. I think we're going to have a role reversal here. I think that's going to be pretty interesting.
Used on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't.
Possibly, yes. So I do enjoy the fact that Tyler is his success character.
One of them, yes. Yeah.
It's his success character that he created to help him in situations that he himself did not feel comfortable handling. And to me, that's a success character.
I also drew a very similar conclusion to what modern day digital influencers do. You know, there's the people that we've studied very, that's what I'm looking for, extensively, the Russell Brunsons and the Steve Larsons, who literally had recreated themselves for the purpose of putting themselves out to the world, building a success character. I think, yeah, spot on. I thought the same thing. I was like, damn, this was like recreating himself into his perfect image before the guys on the internet made it a buzzword. That's pretty cool.
He hated himself so much that he wanted to cause himself pain.
I mean, we work with a lot of, in our line of work, I'll just say, when you don't have purpose, you end up like the narrator on Fight Club. It's just going through the paces, miserable, stressed out, wondering like what it all means. You know,
This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
that's a life without purpose, a cog in the machine, if you will.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
And I think ultimately, I am drawing a blank on who wrote the book, because I know who directed it. That was Fincher, but who wrote the book? He was interviewed on Joe Rogan. I've watched the podcast. I just can't even think of the guy's name right now. I've never read the book. I've only watched the movie, so that's probably why. But I believe the reason he doesn't give the main character, who Edward Norton plays.
Product placement.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that, too, in a minute with all the Starbucks and different things they do in that film. But I think for the reason that they never give Edward Norton's character a real name, he's always known as like the narrator. Like he's just the guy, is because he's that guy, that person that represents like that character, that personality, we'll call it, is supposed to represent or be able to represent everybody. The everyday person who just sacrifices all their time, all their happiness, all their everything to chase the dollar, to buy the thing that they don't really want, to impress the people that they don't really care about or care about them. There's a whole speech that Tyler does on that. Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but I think that's...
One of my favorite lines that Tyler gives to Edward Norton, is when they first meet, and he goes, "How's that working for you?"
Oh, I get it. It's very clever. Thank you. How's that working out for you? What? Being clever? Great. Keep it up then.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite lines because of how powerful that question is.
Yeah.
Is it working for you? And then he's like, "Oh yeah, it's working." Obviously he's lying. And then Tyler's, "Okay, keep doing more of it."
Yeah. Simple as that. Yeah. No, Tyler's got, I mean, there are definitely extremes inside of that persona that is in there, which Brad Pitt plays. But there are a lot of one-liners that really make you think too.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
They're like, whoa, okay, that's real. That's a real thing, which is why when I walked in earlier and you were like, I don't know if it still has the same impact on me. And I was like, I think it, I believe that it stands true today more than ever because of the consumerism. And I think one of the big messages inside of Fight Club too is that there has to be a balance between this just overwhelming masculinity and then this, I don't want to say femininity because that's not really the other balance of it, but like the ability to be empathetic, and emotional and actually share oneself. And then obviously at the end of the movie, once he takes out the extremes, he's balanced in the middle. And I think that's kind of really what the whole message is about.
So there was this weird study that I heard about recently, like literally 2 days ago before I even rewatched them. And what happened is there are people that end up with some kind of injury to the brain where it kind of separates the hemispheres. So kind of down the middle.
Yeah.
And so the scientists decided to do a study found as many people that were afflicted with this condition as possible. And some of these people came to this through accidents, like just a physical injury type thing or a disease or something like that, where the hemispheres needed to be split surgically or anyway. What they did was they would separate between the face, where just perfectly down the middle. And they'd ask questions to each side. Simple questions, and both sides would give different answers, even to questions like, what's your name?
Yeah. Well, that one I think that's kind of interesting because they function separately.
Yeah.
Like one's meant to be like creative and outside of the box, and one's very logical and by the numbers. And so,
but they give two different names.
that part's
That's
creepy.
the part.
Yeah, that part's creepy.
So could that be their own Tyler Durden in there, or their subconscious reaching out to say something's got to change?
I had a mentor very early on who said you can't see something in someone else if it doesn't already exist in you. You wouldn't be able to even notice it if you didn't know of its existence, and it has to exist in you to see it in others. Which is why when you're like, if you say to somebody,
Understand that.
well, I were to say, just for example, the example he used with me was like, oh man, I wish that I could communicate like that person. Like, I really love their presence, their ability to get on stage and just grab attention and persuade the audience. I think that's awesome. I would really love to be able to do that. And they'd be like, the fact that you can even notice that person's doing that means that it's inside of you and you can learn it, that you're aware of it. It's something that you can harness. And so I was like, oh, interesting. And I started to notice that more and more, that the things that people would notice that I wouldn't pick up was because I didn't have those things. Like, I didn't have that piece of me.
Can you give me an example of not having that piece?
When we recently were working with a group of people, you had brought to my attention, hey, be careful. This might not end as positively as you think it is. And I was very adamant that it was like, no, we had nothing to worry about. Everything is good. Because I didn't have that I'm going to fuck over someone I say I love in me. Mm-hmm. I don't think that necessarily you have that in you, but you've seen it before. So it was something that like was prevalent for you based on your life. You've seen it before. Mm-hmm. And so you were already flags up. This is something I'm familiar with. I've seen it before. I was like, this doesn't exist in my world. And so when it happened, you were like, yeah, I knew that was coming. And I was like, just devastated. Cause I was like, what, how do I trust people who tell me that they're my family, that they love me? Like, how do I get past that? And I did. I moved past it and figured it out and all these different things, but it was just the first example that popped in my head of, and because it's pretty new, of a thing that I didn't think was possible. And then all of a sudden it's possible.
So one of the things I hated about the intelligence community was everyone was very backstabbing when things didn't go right, but all, hey, great work, guys. We're doing awesome. Keep moving forward when things are going correct.
Yeah.
So the moment something went wrong, it's like, all right, where's it washing down to? You didn't do it the way they wanted. You were automatically kind of segregated from other people in like a social setting.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I've seen that in like real time. Where all of a sudden it's like high school lunchroom again, and then you can't sit at our table. You have to go sit by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much how the intelligence community was.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the entire intelligence community is like that, but I didn't like it because everything was political around it.
Yeah.
No, it's not smart. It's politics.
Because intelligence, you answer some very big people, right? So nobody wants to take the fall because they take the fall. It can be public if it comes out, or could have some really devastating impact. So people just, okay, we're just going to shift the blame over here.
Yeah. That's crazy because my short, few years in the military was a very different experience. Maybe because I was in a combat arms MOS, there was no backstabbing. We were brothers. That's not true. We did have Jones. I won't say anything more, but we did have him, hard dude from Compton. I'm like, what? You're supposed to be the hard dude from Compton. How are you the snitch? But anyway. That was the only time I ran into that, but that was kind of interesting. little circumstance that we were in. And
I wasn't a fan after being in the military now and watching it, of watching them kind of turn into terrorists.
yeah,
That part was extremely uncomfortable for me.
I think I agree. That part is...
And I'm sorry, let me just interrupt you one more. And the fact that it spread so quickly throughout the country.
Yeah.
That part was extremely devastating, maybe because of everything going on right now in the country, how easily something like that could happen by one person having the power to influence and just...
It's happened before. It could happen again, yeah.
That's terrifying.
Absolutely. It's freaking the kind of shit that keeps you up at night.
I couldn't sleep.
For sure. Yeah. It's obviously because they don't know how to follow the first 2 damn rules of Fight Club. But anyway, that's just a joke. I think that is a necessary evil in the movie because it shows you the extremes. It starts off with the extreme of the narrator, who is just a corporate cog who has literally bought hook, line, and sinker into the message that capitalism and consumerism has fed him, that you need to look good for the Joneses, work all those hours, buy the different things so that everything on the outside looks good, even though you're hollow and miserable on the inside.
I'd flip through catalogs and wonder, what kind of dining set defines me as a person?
That's the whole reason Brad Pitt said he would choose the role to actually go into Fight Club, is because at that point in his career, he was so famous, but so hollow, that he felt it was perfect for him to play in that movie and be a part of that message. Anyway, let me finish. So they go from this guy who is like the one extreme, who builds his, we'll call it success character because it's a word we both know, but his other persona, which is the exact opposite of everything that he is, right? He's outgoing, he's powerful, he's handsome, he's chiseled, he's good with ladies, he's amazing in bed, he says all the right things, people adore him and, want to worship him. Where this guy doesn't even seem, people don't even notice him, right? He doesn't even exist. And so this guy, the Brad Pitt character, eventually through his idealisms and like bringing this dude in and treating him like nothing, goes way off the handle and shows you what it would be like if all you did was pursue violence and your baser instincts and only just give in to your emotion. And what would the world look like? It would be fucking chaos, anarchy, devastation, mindless drones blowing things up, and just like you sitting on the rotten heap of it all, the burning heap of it all.
In the end, you will thank me.
But then there's also what would your life be like on the other end of the spectrum, and it would be you'd be laying on a couch at night watching infomercials, wishing someone would put a gun in your head, right? Just end it all. And so then, without those two extremes throughout the movie, when he's holding Marla's hand at the end, which I want to talk about Marla, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense why he's finally at peace, why he finally can just have that sense of, I just blew a hole through my face, but I am at more peace and relaxation and content than I've ever been. Anyway, that's why I think the violence and the terrorism in that movie is necessary.
I understand that aspect of it. I was just saying that's what makes it so uncomfortable for me now as a veteran watching it over.
Yeah.
Because I already explained it. But I do have a question. Why do you feel that he would go to the support groups just so that he could cry again? Like, why do you think that was the only way that he could cry again? To feel emotion like that on that level.
Go ahead, Cornelius. You can cry.
If you remember early in the movie, he just wants medication to go to sleep, right? He's just looking for a way to go to sleep. He just wants to basically turn off reality. And he can't even get that through his dreams, right? Because he can't. He's stuck awake. So he goes to the doctor, and the doctor he's like, dude, I'm suffering. Like, I'm in real pain.
Yeah, that was like his buddy.
No, I don't think.
They had like a relationship.
I think because he was such a hypochondriac and like such a case, he was probably there a lot. That's probably I don't think they were friends. I think he was just so fed up with seeing him all the time that he was like, all right, bud, if you want to know real suffering, go see dudes with testicular cancer.
No, when he got hurt, he went back to him again.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe so. Trying to remember.
They had more of a friendship.
Maybe I missed that whole piece. Yeah. Okay.
That's what it seemed like to me. Like they were friends or they went to school together at one point or something like that. It felt like that kind of relationship to me between those two characters.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I always just felt, like I said, that, he was so distraught and such a wreck that he just spent a lot of time at the doctor's. But anyway, either one could have worked. I forgot what I was going to say.
I was asking about why you think he needed to be around the sadness of so many people before he could feel again and let his emotions out.
I don't know necessarily if I have the answer. My belief is that it allowed him to finally have an emotional release, like to actually feel. Like you, when you're in a room full of people, you take on their energy. You're very empathetic.
Yes.
I think that...
Why I avoid large crowds with negativity and stuff like that.
So just society.
That's why concerts are great.
Yeah.
That's just high energy. And
comedy shows, too. Everyone's laughing. That's probably a good vibe.
Yeah.
I think that ultimately it allows him to finally feel something, which is he doesn't. He's just like this void. And then that allows him to... I think he's borrowing their pain so that he can feel something, so that he cries, so that he can go to sleep. And then when Marla starts to show up, he can't cry anymore.
So when he is avoiding his own pain and not dealing with it, he's borrowing theirs.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just asking because of your extensive background in the personal development world. I figured you might have an answer for that, seeing so many people go through probably something kind of relatable.
It's easier to help someone else with their problems than it is to look at oneself, right? It's pretty common. It's pretty common for people to go to one personal growth and development course or, read one book, and then all of a sudden, instead of applying that to themselves, they're out in the world trying to apply it to everyone else. It's pretty common that happens, but I just truly think that he does not want to accept his reality. And so he lives in this voided state, a numbness, as Greg would call it when he talks about his ikipono and all of that, and being in balance and whole with yourself. He's in what we call the numb zone completely.
My shoulder's numb, my arm's numb. My fingers feel like they belong to some son of a bitch in the next county.
And so for him to feel and not have to actually have an emotional a true personal emotional attachment to it, he just borrows others. And then when Marla comes and starts doing the same thing, now he can't do it anymore. But I read...
Why do you think that is?
Because he's aware of what he's doing, and so he can't do it anymore.
Okay. I was going to say, is it because he feels guilty? Because now he knows why he has
to admit what he's doing. He's so mad at her for doing it because he knows he's doing it. Now he has to admit he's doing it. Yeah, 100%. That's what I believe.
That annoyed the shit out of me. I was like, you hypocrite.
If you guys think something different, let us know in the comments. If you guys think there's a different reason why that's happening, I'd love to know.
I'd love to know all your guys' takes on whether you think we are on the point or you think you'd slightly modify or any of that stuff.
With the movie being 25 years old this year, came out in 99. So, there's so many different controversial topics and opinions and stuff on this. I'm sure we could have a really good debate down in the comments on what people think some of these messages really mean. But I want to talk to you about something that I was on YouTube, and on the shorts, a lot of the times, little scenes from movies will pop into my shorts, right? And one of them was a scene from Fight Club that had recently popped up, which is probably why it was on my mind to do this, because I had seen it recently in my feed. But in the comments on that video, there was a comment that said something that completely made me rethink the entire movie. And the comment was, rewatch it, Marla's not real. What do you think about that?
Why would she not be real?
So there's never a scene where, obviously got my attention, so I wanted to know. There's never a scene where someone besides the narrator or Tyler directly speaks to her. No one ever interacts with her besides those two until the very end when they have the guys pull her into the skyscraper.
Let her go. Hi, Marla. You leave her with me and get your stuff. I'll meet you downstairs.
Are you sure?
Yes.
To see the, everything unfold at the end. Until that point, no one interacts with her. And so there's a theory, and I'm starting to kind of lean towards it a little bit more, that Marla is the feminine personality represented through the narrator. Tyler is the masculine, that property or personality represented through the narrator, and then the narrator himself is just the other end of the spectrum, and all three of them together make one character. There's a theory going around about that. When I saw it in the comments, I was like, what do you mean she's not real? And then I'm like, what? So I was like, oh shit, I wonder.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Because nobody else directly does speak to her. They interact with her, but that could be just his mind fucking with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. 25-year-old Easter egg that no one ever answers?
I don't think anyone's ever even asked, was Marla supposed to be a personality or is she real? I mean, she could have been written as a extra character, but now 25 years later, because of the way the movie was directed, produced, and executed, we're all wondering if she's real,
Brings up a lot of questions. Oh, I forgot to smack the table like you did when you started talking.
Me, pattern interrupts. It's baked in.
I'm just wondering, can you guys find the one frame that I'm going to put in this later?
Yeah. I forgot. There's like a bunch of weird clips that they insert in throughout the whole movie. I forgot how many exactly. There's obviously people who went through the entire movie like with a comb and pulled it all out, which that's something that I thought was pretty cool for the experience of like my first experience with Fight Club, because I watched it on DVD, and so like we could rewind it, pause it. Imagine watching it in the theater and trying to catch everything that happens like in one go. Yeah. What just happened?
They didn't even know that they were quite going to be there, and by the time you realize that there was something that flashed, gone, and yeah, so no way.
You know what I want to know?
No, I don't. Not yet.
Did you know the twists the first time watching the movie?
Yes.
You knew that they were the same person the first go through?
Yes.
Did you guys know that Tyler and the narrator were the same person the first time you watched the movie? I definitely didn't know.
I didn't know until the end.
Obviously, when they reveal it, but did you know the big twist was coming before the hotel room?
Oh, I can't.
When he's like talking to Marla, and she was like, Tyler Durden, you idiot. And then he hangs up, and then Tyler's there.
I can't recall whether I remember that or not.
Yeah,
I'm usually very good about that stuff. Like, I saw the Sixth Sense coming.
I see dead people.
Yeah, didn't see that. Definitely didn't know. I remember sitting there confused. What do you mean you're the same person? And then they start showing you all the fights where he's fighting Tyler, but he's actually fighting himself. And I'm like, oh, got it now. Yeah. But again, remember, I'm a little kid watching this movie for the first time.
So one of my big hints, and I've never gone back to confirm it, but the thing that gave it away, when I remembered that distinctly because you just asked whether I knew, was always questioning whether Tyler had the scar in his hand before or after that incident when he did it to him. That is something that I do remember noticing.
He did or didn't?
Whether he did or didn't have it beforehand.
Did you notice?
I don't think he had it beforehand on his hand, the scar. I think that scar showed up in that moment when he goes, yeah, I did it too.
That
was the first big clue that I looked for or started to question.
You know the infamous scene where Lou shows up and beats up Tyler at the basement?
Yeah.
Let us fight here, Lou, whatever he says to him. You don't know where I've been, Lou. There's a scene where he punches him in the stomach, and like you can see Edward Norton wince too, like at the same time. There's like, when you watch it back through, there's a million hints that they're the same person. But the first time you watch it, I don't think many people, maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better, but I don't think many people caught it, that they were the same. But I mean, when you watch it again, knowing the answer, he even says, there's many times where the narrator says, I know this because Tyler knows this. Yeah, because you're the same person.
No, I didn't notice that line at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I could literally write off why he felt that way with the stomach thing easily.
You can wince at someone else's physical pain, 100%, but no one else does. It's very clear if you watch it very closely. He's the only, they both wince, no one else moves.
Plus, they give you tons of hints when everybody else is reacting when he's asking questions, when Tyler starts first going off the rails, and Edward Norton's going on, and everyone's like confused. They're easing you into it.
Yeah, there are definitely like certain scenes where Tyler's talking to somebody, and it isn't until Edward Norton's character says something that they interact with him, and it's almost like Tyler isn't even there to them, which he's not, obviously. Yeah.
There was one line he was talking about, personal development just being masturbation, like improving yourself.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's also talking. It's the scene where they're getting on the bus, right? And he's talking about how, I think that's the same scene. He's talking about men wanting to turn themselves into chiseled gods for, forget the exact reason, hacking it. But yeah.
That what a man looks like?
Self-improvement is masturbation.
One was like, okay, I mean, I can kind of see it, how that strokes the ego, but don't we all want to be better in the end anyway?
Yeah, but that would stop him from being, if he were to take on personal growth, that would require discipline, which would be the opposite of chaos. Yes, so he's against it 100%.
So that part stood out to me as well.
Yeah, that's why at the end he kills him, because as awesome as the chaos that Brad Pitt's character brings to the movie, as in attention grabbing as that can be, as a person watching that, that's not who he wants to be. He doesn't want to be this anarchist.
He wants to be better.
He does want to be better, which is why he kills
Tyler.
Yeah, which is why he kills Tyler, because he does want to be better.
Tyler does not want to be better.
So he kills that part of him.
So if we work with the understanding that Tyler and Marla aren't real,
they're just figments of the narrator's imagination.
If we work with that, then Tyler's the devil on the shoulder and Marla's the angel that's kind of grounding.
Yeah, I mean, as psycho as Marla is, yes, because that's the way his mind works.
Inherently good, though.
Yeah, but he's also crazy, so his characters, his personas are slightly crazy, but yes, one would represent like grounded, emotional, love, connection, like being a part of the world. The other one is just blow shit up in chaos.
Okay. Or she's just a really emo version of Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, I think that I was hearing that they were originally going to cast like several other people, and eventually, went with Helena Bonham Carter. I think is how you say her name.
I don't recall her being in anything else, or maybe she was just so into the character and makeup and all that stuff for her character there that I just don't recall her in anything else.
I've seen her in many other things. Harry Potter, Big Fish. I mean, she is such a good actress.
Fish. That's the fantasy one, right?
With Ewan McGregor, where he's like on his deathbed and you're like going through his life with his son. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I did watch that. Obviously, not a Harry Potter fan at all.
Such a good universe.
Potterverse. Yeah.
And then Fantastic Beasts. If I was going to be a wizard, I'd be Newt, because I'd be all into the animals.
Fantastic Beasts, I could get behind. I couldn't get behind Harry Potter.
Fantastic Beasts is just the prequels to the Harry Potter world. And I'm pretty sure they have, I haven't been in that, like, continued down that path other than, like, the movies and TV shows that come out, but I'm pretty sure they have something coming out now where it's, like, the sequel, like, later in life. Like, I think it's called The Cursed Child. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, you guys, what is the next thing that's coming out that I've been hearing rumors about?
At least we play to both sides of the aisle. Those for Harry Potter and those who don't like Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah, me and you have a difference of opinions on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, we also care about a lot of the same things. So.
Agree.
So let's put a wrap on this one. What are some last minute things that you want to just mention about Fight Club that maybe stood out to you?
Look at where the chaos is that you need to eliminate in your life. That's one of the things that I would say to do based on watching the movie. Rewatch it so that you can get into the chaos yourself of what Edward Norton's character went through, and start looking for the chaos that you can eliminate to ground yourself again.
Yeah.
Appreciate the good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you remove the fact that, there's no way of overlooking the fact that there is extreme violence in the movie. But I think that's just used as a tool to represent the bigger message. And so if you haven't seen it for something more than just fights, then I would suggest watching it again. And if you really like the movie, watch it again anyway, like I would. Because I think the messages that come from that movie are profound. And even to today, you know, don't get wrapped up in consumerism. Don't let other things like possessions and objects and cars and houses own you. Like, know what you believe in, what you value, and stand by it. Be okay with being open and compassionate and having connections and love with others. There's a balance in it all. So I think it's a really cool homage to all of that. And amazing acting and a lot of crazy chaos. So it keeps you entertained the entire time.
And what's that movie that we're going to be talking about next week? That ungentlemanly thing?
Ungentlemanly Warfare? I forget. I think it just came out. It's with Henry Cavill.
And the dude who played Reacher.
Yep. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. We will be reviewing it next week because we're going to go see it probably Sunday.
You also have to go watch Boy Kills World.
Boy Kills World. Let us know if you guys have seen Boy Kills World. Let us know in the comments if I have to check it out. Liam's been saying go see it. So
yes, go see it. It's freaking awesome. If you like this, if you enjoyed this movie that we just talked about, then you're definitely gonna like that.
All right, guys. Till next time. This was the G Spot. You found it again. We'll see you next time.
In Tyler we trusted.
Whoa! Whoa!